everybody, this is Mrs. D, and I want us to have some fun with flowers today. We've all been cooped up in the house for the last couple of weeks, and so I am asking you guys to go outside and see what kind of flowers are in bloom. As you look at my document camera, these are all the flowers that I collected today. So I want you to go ahead and get your notebook and your pen handy, so that you can write down some questions that you have about the flowers. So this is a hibiscus flower. It's from my citrus tree in my backyard. This is a flower from, where did I get this? Oh, from my aloe plant. This is from bougainvillea. Bougainvillea are everywhere out here. This is my Hong Kong orchid flower from my Hong Kong orchid tree in my backyard. My yellow bell, which is from a wildflower, Cape Cod honeysuckle, and from a cactus plant, and then from a grass. So go ahead and write down your questions that you have about these flowers. Okay, so some of the questions that you are giving to me are questions that I've had in the past. Many of you didn't realize that grass was actually a flower, and it is. Kind of cool. Grasses are flowers. They actually don't have colored petals to attract pollinators because they don't get pollinated by pollinators. They actually get pollinated through the wind, and so they don't need elaborate petals. Also, you might have noticed that some flowers have the insides kind of stick up above the petals, and sometimes they don't. And some of your questions are, why is there such a variety? And why do some flowers have maybe petals that go all the way around the flower, like this one, and some don't? And some have all the insides. They are inside the flower. They don't stick up above. So all great questions. We have some questions, why are flowers so many different kinds of colors? All right, so that's all the information that all those questions that you can investigate as you go out and find flowers in your neighborhood. So I want to go ahead and share with you just for a minute, as you are collecting flowers from your neighborhood and you want to find out more information, I've actually provided you with a resource that's on the web, and it's just an open text source. And it has all different kinds of information about angiosperms. So if you are collecting flowers in your neighborhood and you run across something that's a little bit unusual, go ahead and go to your research and see what you can find out. Okay? All right, so I want to go ahead and I want to just focus on one of the flowers for right now, just to tell you some basic anatomy. Oh, and by the way, just wanted to let you know that the colored leaves of this bougainvillea plant, it's actually not part of the flower. These are actually leaves. So if you guys wanted to investigate the actual parts of the flower, you're going to need something like a microscope or a magnifying glass so you can see the inside. But just to let you know that these are called bracts, and bracts are modified leaves, and they're actually not part of the flower itself. All right, so this flower from my Hong Kong orchid tree is actually a perfect flower. And a perfect flower is a flower that has all four parts. And so you can see the sepal. Sepal actually covers and protects the flower bud, so it surrounds the flower bud. You can see the petals. Collectively, the the petals together are called the corolla. And you can see the male and female parts of the flower. So the carpel here, sometimes called the pistil, actually contains the stigma, and down inside contains the ovary. Okay, and that's actually what will produce the seeds. And then we have the stamen. Okay, and the stamen actually includes the anthers, and the anthers are these little pads that produce the pollen. Okay, so this is a perfect flower because it has all four parts. It has sepals, petals, carpels, and stamens. There are different types of flowers, okay, besides perfect flowers. There are imperfect flowers. And if you look on the screen, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my annotation tool. If you guys have a garden, if you've ever known that you have to, if you wanted kiwi, you would actually have to plant two different plants. So kiwi is dioecious. So here on the screen you can see that I have the male kiwi flower here, and then I have the female kiwi flower here. So if you wanted to have kiwi, you would have to actually plant a male plant and a female plant, or you won't get fertilization and you won't have any kiwi fruit. But over here on the screen, I have something that is called a monoecious plant, which actually has one flower organ here and another flower clear up here that you might not have noticed in this picture. And so that's a monoecious plant. When they have both types of flowers, both types of organs, sexual organs on the same plant. There's also diversity of angiosperms. So we can talk about monocots and dicots. Very common monocots would be things like corn, things like grasses, and very common dicots would be what I have here on the screen. And one of the things that we can do is we can actually count the petals. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see when they are in multiples of 4 or 5, you can actually see that it would be known as a representative dicot. Okay, so all different kinds of flowers. I would like to ask you guys to actually go out into your yard, and like I did this morning, here's pictures of me cutting the flowers, and go ahead and bring them on in, and then go ahead and do a dissection. You can pull apart the flower. Oops. You can label the parts. Okay, see if you can find different types. And then go ahead and send me your pictures. So get outside, enjoy the weather, and have fun with flowers.